All right, trying it out live here. Not sure how good it's going to go. Um, did a bunch of updates on my computer here. It's been a long time. If y'all have, kept up with the channel and everything, it's been a long time since I've done any live streaming. I used to do it quite often, but for the last couple of years, it's been very rare. And so the computer needs a bunch of updates, and the internet I usually use is just, hotspot off of my phone. So I may have burned through all the high speed, hotspot on there trying to do these updates and get everything set up. And like I said, not sure how good it'll be. Looks like we have one person in. Hopefully you can see me and hear me okay. Still using the StreamYard here. It's been a long time since I've been on here. A few things is different. It's done some updates too, a little different layout and everything. We'll see how it goes. It may work better just directly live streaming off of YouTube, but it's been a long time since I did that. If I remember right, I tried to do it one time off the computer, and for some reason it just didn't pick up or work very well or something. There was some reason that I kept using StreamYard. Hey Jennifer, how you doing? It's been a very long time since I've seen you, except on Facebook and stuff. All right, appreciate that. Uh, have a good time at your meeting. Good luck. I don't know if you're speaking or not, but I'm sure if you are, it'll be really good. But yeah, I just figured I'd hop on and hang out for a little while. Um, been real busy with work and kids and everything else. So I wanted to take and turn this into a nicer studio, but we're still working on that. As you see over in the corner, still got some junk piled up and everything. But found these rope lights behind me, and I got that motorcycle clock up there for my birthday. It's got a light in it, so looks pretty cool. It doesn't show up as good on here. You just kind of see the light so bright you can't really see the motorcycle there. But yep. All right. Appreciate it, Jennifer. And like I said, I don't know how long I'll be on here tonight. Probably not terrible long, but just want to hop in and see what everybody's doing if anybody's around. It's definitely been a crazy year, crazy couple of weeks, and the world's absolute nuts. And just try to be as aware as possible of your surroundings and everything. And I don't know, it's just some things you can't prepare for. Just like, Charlie Kirk. Um, Nobody seen that coming. It was just some nut out of the blue. And it's a terrible tragedy for sure. And I can't imagine what his family's going through. Um, I've got a wife and three small kids, 10 and under. But I know he had a 3-year old, and I don't remember how old the other one was. But I couldn't imagine them trying to process that. And especially for his wife, Erica, I believe the name is, having to hold everything together now. And, that I watched that speech that she gave, and if that don't bring tears in your eyes, nothing will. I mean, really, how do you tell a 3-year old, the dad's not coming home? Whether you agree with him or not, it's terrible. And see the responses from people, you see a lot of really good, and you see a lot of really bad. And it's just unreal to realize how bad the world is. And living out here in the sticks where I do, you You know it's bad, but you don't know it's that bad until you see that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's crazy. Definitely, self-defense is a big thing. Medical training is a big thing. Having the things with you, and just trying to be as aware as possible. Um, yeah, I know they're going to continue to do that. The turning point stuff and going to the colleges, and I think I seen Ben Shapiro and stuff is going to go, and all these things. But with the nut jobs out there now, it's bad. You don't want to stop doing it because of things like that, but at the same time, you got to be aware of it. I don't know if I would go in a big crowd right now, with the way people are. But like I said, we've known for a long time that it was bad, and I used to do a lot of prepping videos, and I've really gotten away from those with everything going on, and changing work. A lot of them's been tool videos and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's been a small channel, but there's been a lot of big channels that reach a lot of people that's been, trying to tell people how bad it is for a long time. And nobody really believes it until you see it, all over the news one day. It's a lot of terrible stuff happening in the world. Definitely, if you're a female, you don't really want to travel by yourself, and if you have to, you need a way to protect yourself because it's bad. What happened in North Carolina is terrible, and I've seen some of the video, not all of it, but just the fear, in her face. She knew something bad was going to happen, and I couldn't imagine what she was going through in those, few minutes, and not having a way to protect yourself is bad. But anyway, let's figure out, hop on for a little bit and see what everybody was up to. Hopefully I can start doing more live streams again and kind of plan them out and everything, and way everybody has a chance to get in and hang out and things like that. Hopefully everybody out there has been doing pretty good, personally. Like I said, there's a lot of crazy things in the big world out there. Hopefully you're able to enjoy your life. Everything's been going good. I need to get back to making some more tool videos, but I just really hadn't had a chance. Got some more motorcycle stuff I want to do that I haven't got a chance to get around to doing. Some more music stuff, kind of getting together with the guys and working up some songs and record them, put them on here and things. But just seems like there's never enough time to do anything but work, basically. Hey, Arma 15, how you doing out there? Appreciate you stopping in and hanging out for a little bit here. But yeah, I've got a lot of videos that I want to get together and put together and put out there. But like I said, with time and being busy and everything like that. But I'll probably be able to make some more videos and content and stuff like that here, getting towards the fall and the winter time. Usually the busyness of summer will be kind of winding down. All the hay will be done in for the animals and stuff, and all the summer activities of going to the lake with the kids and swimming and all that will kind of be coming to a close. It's pretty nice weather out here now. It's been pretty warm during the day and a little cool at night, but it's been nice. We've had a couple of weeks now pretty nice weather, and it's very unusual for our part of the world. Usually it stays hot 90 degrees until it just flips the switch down to 60. But we've been had days in the 70s and low 80s and stuff. It's been really nice. Hasn't been real humid like it is in the summertime. This summer was very hot, very dry. So it'd be nice to get into cooler weather now. And we really need some rain and stuff like that. But it's been a very dry summer. The garden didn't do very much because of it. Uh, we don't like to pull a lot of water out of the well, especially when it's that dry. So it didn't really get watered much, so it didn't do a lot. And having to keep up with the animals' water, it's don't want to pull it too hard and run the well dry. But yep. Anyway, on the motorcycle, I've been trying to ride that as much as I can and enjoy that. And I did get some taller handlebars put on it, so it looks a lot better and handles a lot better being tall and everything like that. I like the taller handlebars better. Changed the seat a while back. Cooled here in PA, middle of August. Extremely dry outside. Little to no rain last few weeks. Yeah, I feel that, Armor. It looks like I don't keep up with the whole world, but it looks like it's been pretty dry most of the summer for everybody, best I can tell. It seems like you have very extremes in the weather. When it's hot, it's really hot. When it's dry, it's really dry. When it does get rain, everything floods. It's like an extreme amount of rain in a short amount of time, and everything floods. Um, it's crazy. The whole world's crazy. You know, it's just, it doesn't seem like there's very much peace anymore. It's, one catastrophe to the next, to the next, to the next, all the time. You don't get a chance to breathe. Yeah, it's definitely a weird summer, but I don't know exactly what's going on. Of course, I got, opinions on it, and I believe that the weather's being tampered with to one degree or another because it's just insane. I remember a few years ago, this is not the first drought we've had. We've had them before, and when you got extremely dry conditions and it rains, you know, 2 inches, 3 inches, you have a little flash flooding here and there. Might be a little creek that's hurting the road a little bit, about that deep. But now you can go 2 months with no rain, extremely dry, and it rain an inch, and there are just massive floods everywhere. And I don't understand what the difference is. Because like I said, if it's really dry, it's been really dry before, and everything doesn't flood out, but it does now. Also, this summer, um, which is a good thing, but usually in the summertime for us, when the weather starts getting warm, you have a lot of tornado warnings to watch stuff around in the area. And I don't remember many this year. It was probably only 2 or 3 times where I remember when I was a teenager, it seemed like every evening was a tornado watch, which, like I said, is good. I definitely don't want any of those, but I just noticed that was weird. That you can't plan the weather like you used to. I know all the old farmers and stuff around here, they used to could, about plan the weather out, what it's going to do. And now nobody has any clue what it's going to do. The seasons are off. It gets hot quicker, it gets cold quicker, stays cold longer, stays hot longer. All the different things, you know. But who knows? All we can do is live one day at a time. Try to be prepared as possible. Definitely, you know, my channel's grown a lot over the last year since I changed jobs to a mechanic and buying all the tools and doing all those tool videos. A lot of them, a lot of those toolbox videos got thousands of views, which is, really good for my channel. My channel is going to get a lot of views and a lot of new subscribers come in and everything. And I don't know how many will see this, but you know, you don't have to be a full blown prepper. Doomsday, zombie apocalypse, stuff like that. But it's definitely a good idea to be more prepared, having extra food in the cabinet, generator for power outages. Like I said, extra non-perishable food stuff, not in a freezer, not in a refrigerator, stuff that you can eat right out of a can and stuff like that, and extra water to drink, and of course, you know you can use extra water to flush your toilet if you need to. Take the back off, fill the tank back up, and flush it again, stuff like that. And just simple, everyday things to be more prepared will take you a long ways. Um, Traveling in a vehicle, I like to have, a tool set, and, if it's kind of in the wintertime, extra blankets, stuff like that. If it's in the summertime, extra water, stuff like that. Um, like I said, it doesn't take a lot to make a lot of difference. Yeah, Arma. I've got a couple new things lately. I got. I don't think I did a video on them. Some of the Icon ratchet wrenches, the long ratchet wrenches, and the shorter ratchet wrench and stuff. And I've got some ones that I've already done videos on, like the Capri ratchets and the Gen 2 Icon ratchet that I need to update on since I've been using them, so much now and all. But I really got to go back and see what I've already done, and maybe some stuff that needs updates, and, tools that held up and ones that didn't, stuff like that. Um, I've been more limited on the tools of just basically, Harbor Freight and stuff that you can order or whatever, since we don't have a Snap-on guy anymore. We hadn't had a Snap-on guy in probably 4 months, maybe 5 months or something. He ended up having a disagreement with Snap-on company, and they parted ways. So he went and got another job somewhere else, and I guess sold the truck or got it for sale or whatever. But anyway, he's not running. So yeah, I hear that. Like I said, I'm starting. I've always kind of worked on stuff around the house, and I worked in the woods logging with my dad, so working on equipment and trucks and everything like that, but not a professional mechanic. Um, Half the tools we used in the woods didn't even have a name on it. It was, you know, something made in Taiwan, probably in the 80s, we used. Because, out there in the woods and working on the crew, um, stuff would just get lost. It would get left laying on the skidder and then buried in the dirt and all these kind of things. Or if it was something nice, it might be taken home one day for somebody to use on their personal thing and then never make its way back to the truck, or either just get lost in the truck. It might still be in there, but you got no clue where it is. So, we never bought thousands of dollars of tools and Snap-on or anything like that. We just bought cheap stuff to make do. And, you got a cheap no-name wrench and it's that long and you need a wrench that long, you break it at the grinder and, make your wrench. And you don't really want to be cutting up anything nice. But if I'd have known that the Icon stuff was out, and because like I said, I didn't keep up with tools at that point, that Icon stuff is pretty reasonable. I mean, you can afford, $100 set of wrenches. Basically, you buy, any other kind of cheap wrenches will run you, $60, $70 a set. You can justify going on and buy something decent like that to use, but I just didn't know about them at that time and stuff. And they still don't make anything big, I don't think. Of course, a lot of it's metric and stuff. A lot of the wrenches we used were, more than an inch, and, eighths, quarters, 5/16, and then you get into bigger stuff, inch and a half, inch and 5/8, inch and 7/8, and all that kind of stuff. And, they don't really offer all those yet either. So, but all Icon stuff that I've got so far, I've been happy with. I really like the Gen 2 ratchet. I use that one 99% of the time. That's my laying on the toolbox, all the oil changes, all the things that I don't need a ratchet that long, just a normal ratchet. I use that for. And honestly, I don't even remember the last time I used my Snap-on ratchets. I got a few of them, but I've laid off of them, a lot of it, because we don't have Snap-on guy anymore, and you have to deal with it online trying to get parts and stuff like that. So I'm going to use Harbor Freight and stuff like that, where if I break it, I can just go get another one. But, I'm sure a couple of years down the road, then they'll take the Gen 2s and have all the different, because they make a long reach Gen 2, but it's just a straight hit. It's not flexible or anything like that, so I ain't worried about that. Yeah, I like the Hercules stuff. I don't have a lot of it, but those cordless ratchets I have, I like them. They do a pretty good job, and they're dirt cheap. And the batteries last forever. I don't have to charge them very often at all. And the Snap-on stuff looks like the batteries last really good on them. The Milwaukee's, the batteries do not last. Milwaukee's are good tools. I like using them. My half-inch gun that I do all the tires and stuff with. The 5.0 battery does not last long, and when it gets down to 3/4 or half, you really notice a significant power drop off on it. It's not supposed to, but it's a lot weaker. You put a fresh battery on there, you can tell the difference. And I've got an 8.0 battery up there at the shop that I throw on when I got a big truck come in and need a little extra power and stuff. Yeah, the convenience is really nice for Harbor Freight. And it's pretty much getting to be where there's one on every corner now. So it's, and I remember, like I said, as a teenager and stuff, years ago, 15 years ago or so, the Harbor Freight stuff, and Harbor Freight was just coming into Lynchburg, and you had a big Northern Tool place and a small Harbor Freight, and their stuff was cheap, but it wasn't that great, and their power tools definitely sucked back in the day. They were Chicago and whatever and stuff like that. You could go, they had those sales where you go buy a grinder for like $5, and they sucked. They were terrible. But now they've come a long ways, and now in Lynchburg, you got a bigger Harbor Freight, and you got a tiny little almost out of existence Northern Tool. They really come in and kick their butt big time. But yeah, like I said, the Icon stuff is really nice. The other guys at the shop got a lot of Snap-on stuff, and Icon hangs just right with it. There's been more Snap-on sockets get broke up there than it has been Icon, and I don't remember if I did a video on this or not, but I got a 1/2 inch drive, deep well socket set of the Quinn brand. I use them for most of my lug nuts. They skip a few sizes and stuff, but they've got the important ones. They've got 17, 19, 21, 22, 24, and different ones through there. But those are the most common ones. And I use them basically every day, and I haven't broke any of them. None of them broke. Yeah, that's right, Arma. The deals are just, you know, very good. I've been saying if I have extra money, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the 1/2 inch drive impact guns they have just to test and see how good they are and how good they last and everything like that. Because the Milwaukee is nice, but it should be a lot nicer for the price. I've got the 1/2 inch drive, just the longer shank, so it gives you a little more reach when you're trying to get into some of the like dualies and stuff with the axle comes out, and then some of the wheels, just the way they're made. If you got a regular impact, you got to put an extension on it. So I like using the long shank, but that thing is weak. I mean, it does good most of the time, but sometimes I just got to go get the other guy's 1/2 inch drive Snap-on, and it'll take it off like it ain't nothing. The Milwaukee should be stronger than it is, and we'll see how good it lasts. Like I said, I got that when I started, and going on a year to be a year in November. So we'll see, how good it's doing so far. Now it does good. Every now and then it like, I don't know, like glitches out or something. You'll pick it up and pull the trigger and it's just completely dead. You have to take the battery off and then put it back in place, and then it'll come back to life for whatever reason. But other than that, not bad. And the toolbox, the Harbor Freight, I'm drawing a blank now. Drawing a blank. Just the Harbor Freight brand toolbox. Anyway, that's held up really good so far. Everything's still open and closed, smooth, rolls smooth, all that, good stuff. And I hadn't had any problem with it at all. It's definitely a good box for the money. I thought about, buying an Icon box down the road, but not right now. Yeah, U.S. General. I don't know why. I just couldn't think of the name for some reason. But the Icon boxes just look like to me that they were way more expensive than they should be. I mean, they were, getting on up there with name brands on the boxes. And they didn't really have a lot of size options. You get the big one with all the top deck and side cabinet and all that, but they didn't really have smaller roll arounds like, majority of people would be using. And they were, a couple $1,000s and stuff. So, but yeah, I like the tools. One of the Icon tools that I didn't like, ain't nothing wrong with it. I brought it home, use it at home, but the screwdrivers, that screwdriver set, it's made nice, but the handles, ain't nowhere near as nice as the Snap-on handles on screwdrivers. So I did bring them to the house just to use around here, And I got the Snap-on set a while back when the Snap-on guy was there. And also, I got a Carlisle set of screwdrivers, the newer gen or whatever. They're in a green color, and they're pretty good screwdrivers. Handles pretty comfortable on them. And the main reason, I got those is because Napa sells them, and we get a lot of parts and stuff from Napa and everything. So if I break one of them, I use them for my, prying and stuff like that. When you're kind of getting a little harder on screwdrivers than just taking out a tail light. So if I do happen to break one, snap the end off or anything like that, I can get it warranted out versus, again, not have a Snap-on guy trying to deal with online stuff and getting it warranted and all that. So I got, stuff like that. I got a Sunex brand of flip sockets. It's got 19, 21 you can flip, and then it's got 7/8, which is 22, and I think a 13 16ths, or no, 15 16ths. Flip on, a couple different ones like that, and I like them pretty good. Bought the set from Fisher's Parts. They deliver parts and stuff too, but I gotta get one of those warranted. It just broke today, so I think it made it 2 months, maybe something like that, and it cracked. Which that I've had the flip socket of the Pittsburgh brand. I don't see Icon make one yet, but the I know Klein puts out a lot of good stuff. I don't really know, where around here sells it. You get it warranted out and things like that. But the Sunex, like I said, I got the Pittsburgh flip socket, and it's, I broke one before, but you just take it in, they give you another one, no big deal. But the Sunex there, one thing I like about it, it's a flip socket, but it's made thin. A lot of times some of the wheels are just made where it's, it's not very much room to get the socket into the lugs on it, and you have to have thin wall stuff. Well, this flip socket is pretty thin, so a lot of them you could get without having to use a special thin socket. But of course, that makes it easier to break when it's thinner like that. But hopefully, I just got it broke today, so hopefully they'll be able to go and warranty it out pretty soon, and all that kind of stuff. And I might order another set down the road because a lot of stuff that breaks really easy and stuff, and a lot of stuff is cheap. If it was $100 set, it be a little harder to eat. But if it's like 50 or something, you can have an extra set where you have another one of those tools to use while it's getting warranted out and stuff. Hey Tamara, how you doing? I ain't seen y'all in a while. I ain't been on here in a while and stuff. Hopefully everything's going good at your homestead. But Arma, that is. And I really hate the spline socket stuff. The lug nuts with the spline on it. And what I hate about that is the fact that, I don't know if somebody might make one, but the ones we have, the tool, the socket to take the splines off has like a regular bolt head on it. So you have to use another socket to put on there. It usually has two different sizes. You can have one's got a 19 and a 21 on it. But that little tool, why don't you just put a 1/2-inch drive head on it where you can just put it directly on the impact like a normal socket instead of having to, use all that crap. And everybody in the world down here wants to put aftermarket wheels and tires on everything. Hey Tamara, we're all good. Kids are growing and all that good stuff. Everybody's been good. My oldest is 10 now. I got 10, 8, and 6. So don't have any small babies anymore. They're all growing up on me. But everybody around here with pickup trucks have the exact same wheel. Doesn't matter who makes it, whether it's One of the brands is Fuel, and the other one is Moto something, I think. Appreciate it, Tamara. Yeah, I'm trying to get studio set up, which I hadn't worked on it a long time, and need to get cleaned up some more and some more cool things in here. But I like the rope lights around here and kind of light it up a little bit. But like I said, there's 2 or 3 different brands, but every one of them looks the exact same. Everybody wants to change the wheels to be different, and they look the exact same. And everybody around here with a truck puts pretty much the exact same tires on it. Everybody's got 35s, and this mud grip, whether it be this brand, that brand, they all look the same. But whatever. I guess that's the new thing. But yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot of stuff you see, and you just wonder why. We had today. We had a Cybertruck come to the shop. Had to get an inspection on it, and I didn't even know how to open the door. I had to get the dude show me how to open the door, and then you know show me how to put it in gear or whatever you want to call it to make it go. And that thing was weird. Yeah, I appreciate it, Tamara. I might play a song or two. I probably won't be on here much longer tonight, but I might. I got the guitar sitting over here and all. But yeah, that Cybertruck, that thing is crazy. You know, I didn't have an idea how to open the door or anything else. And you got a big touch screen over here that you got to swipe up or swipe down to put it in forward or reverse and all that kind of stuff. And it's a little tiny, like half stern wheel, like Mario Kart or something that you got to drive it with. And the front tires and the rear tires turn when you turn the steering wheel. I didn't drive it up the road or anything, but I drive it around the parking lot and into the shop and everything. It's definitely different. It's definitely different. And me and one of the guys up there today was joking that probably somewhere somebody's put a lift kit and 35s on it. I hadn't seen it yet, but I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah. Here's my guitar here. Yep. Let's see if I can think of something here. I wonder again, am I home and found? And you certainly don't. I was happy and free. I look for my friends, but I never could find. I found they were all rank strangers. Everybody I've met seemed to be rank strangers. No more on there, not a friend that I see. They knew not my name, Yep. That's the thing, though. Usually, when you pick up the guitar to play something, then can't never remember any songs. But anyway, uh, this is a 2008, I believe it is. It was my dad's. I ended up getting it from him not too long ago. But this is a Martin HD 28, so it's the Herringbone Deluxe. Got the East Indian rosewood and all that good stuff on it, but sounds really good and plays really good. I don't play a whole lot no more, with time and everything, but hopefully I can get back to it. I've been playing with a bunch of people and stuff once a week or something, but over the last month or so, it seems like somebody's already got something going on, or one of the guys, Melvin, plays the dope room and stuff, where we go up to his house to play. He just had some skin cancer removed off his hand, so I don't know how long it'll be before he can play again and all, but it's usually a pretty good time when we can get together and play. Let's see here. I'd rather be in the sun or where the sun don't than to be alone or let you go. With all feelings like the road you will break. Carry on down the track. I know it's I'm leaving today. I know I may come back. I'd be in the sun or where the sun can shine, and to be in this big city in a small room with her on my mind. So blow your best and break free, and you fall down the track. I'm going away, I'm leaving today. I'm going, I ain't coming back. I'm going away, I'm leaving today. I'm going, I ain't coming back. Yep, but I like his guitar here. Yep, but anyway, I'm probably going to get ready to head on off of here. And appreciate everybody stopping in and hanging out a little bit and all that. And hopefully we can get together and do this again for too long and just enjoy it. I always enjoyed live streaming and talking to different people and stuff like that. And uh, yeah, like I said, hopefully I can get on here more often, maybe a once a week thing or at least once a month thing or something. It's been a while, but hopefully everybody out there is doing good and everything like that, and just you know stay safe out there and hug your family a little tighter, and we'll see you next time. All right, appreciate it.